Order for my mobile car by Fambra Body TV so. Na police near in Hunia wapejan and say, Ama Tom Sapi. Your friend ACP Dr. Benjamin Agordzo. A nipa yebo mukwedu se omo pese mutu abangu mfie beye numa etwa mukọ no ka ho bi. Na posini na me di no ho afofie. Na wonya ni tie didim ni nyina ne se onka ho na kunu na onka ho na wosusu se nipa bi na onka ho for the first time ni interview ababonten ama wakyerɛkyerɛ mu de dem so a ɛma nipa bi ne aban ni bi enya no ho tan na wo mode sanseme frɔfrɔ no ho saa wabra wanya hwe waye adwuma no ɛwɔ police adwuma no mu 36 good years ɛna Agordzo ACP waye adwuma ɛwɔ police adwuma no mu wabɔ adwuma bebre international ne Ghana nyina na yenkotie ni interview woni okatachi efifa mensa eyeye echeche mu de ntia ye che
ko ye kosua fita ya tobia ma de
kosua de we did all the time, you know, anything unique because said the mechano no rano na de na ye wo gidie wo nyame mu and you knew how this whole thing was going to end, and it ended as expected. A binum person more misunderstanding that term. The fact is, as a Christian, I knew how it was going to end. And besides that, I knew I had not done anything wrong. And I knew there were fabrications. And therefore, I knew how it was going to end. And I knew I was going to put my defense strongly from the beginning. Samoba Kaya, Bibi, Emra Namewo, magistrate court, no cry at the committal proceedings. No, me can say, I was not going to be broken down by this whole thing, and I was going to stand for this to the end. If you Google, you see my speech there. And that is what has happened. My faith in God has brought me this far. And the fact that God is the God of justice, He will not allow me to go through this and then be put to shame. And therefore, all thanks goes to God and to all of you and all Ghanaians who have believed in me. I know many people believe that, no, this guy couldn't have done this. And I thank all of them. And even those who thought I could do it, I thank them. Because that's what makes life. I know it's not everybody who will like you. And I'm thankful to God, and I'm thankful to all of them.
The first time I had an encounter with you, not in person, but via social media, wo chere police nioma ekoso enkoye. I think at some point ushia police for bi wo barrier bia they did the wrong thing and you even corrected them. You actually can wadwene chere wo mo ewo ho. And everybody started liking you, say, oh, this man, okay, I think he's a different policeman and all. At what point in ye this hakwa adwene ball wo ye the ball now wo hefa see ye say opeso ukoyiku now wo he.
Let me clarify something. There are certain clips some of them are me Peter Tobu.
Okay.
Sometimes I'm for to say
and to be
but for me, one of the foremost clipper about Midimu is that of the IDEC presentation.
Okay.
And that was it. And
the Arab Spring,
the police, the interference, political interference. You see, the fact is that Ghana, we don't like the truth. I didn't accuse any single government of interference. I mentioned political interference. And I'm wondering why anybody should ascribe this to themselves. But by the way, I still stand by those principles. Principles are things that you hold dear, and I still hold dear to them. And given another chance, I will say the same things that I said many years ago. I will say the same things that I said on Arab Spring. I will say the same things that I've said anywhere, because I don't see why people should misunderstand terms. I've come to realize that many people don't understand what civil uprising means, what Arab Spring means, what these are civil democratic means of showing dissent. And I wonder why people are so jittery anytime you mention Arab Spring. Didn't we hear our current?
What you say, sir? You kasa no akoka ye no. Eno na ma wo ho ba time bi. Wo he bi ne yes.
It is part of it. It is part of it. It is part of it. It is a major part of it. I mean, when you have, I have been in the police service. I've served the police service 36 years. Listen carefully. Out of these 36 years, I've served at certain very sensitive positions. And I know when people can be tagged. When you have a forum where the director of intelligence, military intelligence, and you have the BNI and all the police people and all the people who matter there, and you attack the presidency by way of talking about political interference and all other things, know that you fall within their security radar. You'll be on their security radar and they'll be looking for you. That's the fact. Most African countries do this, and I wasn't surprised at what they did, but I expected them to have done it in a more refined manner. Evidence against the person, not this kind of thing that they did by concocting stories, by fabricating stories and putting them together and thinking that when you bring 13 witnesses to say the same thing about somebody, then it will hold water. No,
yeah, the 13 witnesses in the bag.
13 witnesses to come and say the same thing about the people, then it means that everything will hold water. I am not holding brief for the people who have been sentenced. Please. I am not holding brief for those who have been sentenced. I'm talking about myself. Whether there's evidence against them or not, I don't want to talk about them. They have been sentenced. The court in its wisdom has sentenced them, and that's it. But I'm talking about myself. And I'm saying that you don't think that when you bring 13 people to say, Agordzo said this, and this means he talked about security, he talked about this, that means that. You see, this is an amateurish way of investigation. They did poor investigation, and I knew, that was how I knew that I would be free, because I knew that the investigation was poor. And it was based on emotions. And how will you do an investigation like that? I have been in police service for 36 years. So why should I, when I see a good investigator and I see an investigation report and outcome, I will know.
Na ma yemusa wo enei woda so ye police ni.
I effectively ended my police career last November. And that is what they actually wanted. They actually decided to do this so that I could be pushed into retirement. And that's what they succeeded in doing. But that's not the end of my life. They are not the master designers of my destiny. Maybe they wish it for evil, but God will turn it to good. That is what I can say about that. Because remember that this thing started in 2019. This thing started in 2019. At that time, I had slightly 4.5 years to go. And so they decided that once they realized I had 4.5 years to go, I don't want to go into certain things. Otherwise, it will prolong this whole talk. Usually, when I want to talk, I really want to speak my mind out.
ACP we ho ene so na yempe no yempo bi ene na Ghana fo mpe no yempo bi a obeka na adwen obeka no kre na ye ya debi ACP ene na yempe no ene na Ghana fo yempe no we ho ene eda so te oman a chese bibia nko yem ukoka no kre yesi yendisi ukoka no kre yesi yempipini we ho ene na bu omanu egu foma emma Ghana nkwanenim ACP kana adwent no ene enfa no frofro sa noma no ho ne enche ntum wo hu na ne nyine mo no enya adesua maye enye adesua emaye pa ACP Dr. Benjamin Agordzo ana waka enipa yebom kwadu se ompese mutu abangu no eno ɛna ɔno yɛkɔtie no no ɛbɛsuafoɔ ɛda ase sɛ mokɔ so a ɛhwɛ Body TV ɛbɛsɛ no subscribe my channel, like video no na wogya comment ɛwɔ comment section mu bɛsɛ unwie share na obi enti ACP ne first interview no na wɔno nso nsua bibi emfi mu yɛda mo nyina ase nyame nhyira yɛn.